So my name is Mildly Gothic, and welcome to my channel. And if you can sort of see, there's stuff on the table in front of me. And today we are talking about, and I'm going to be kind of, I guess, doing a little tutorial of something that I am very, very comfortable and familiar with, and that's jewelry. I have been making jewelry, honestly, as long as I can remember. It started with like super simple like clay beads that my mom would like bake in the oven, and then I would put on strings and I'd be like, look, it's so pretty, and it's this giant like pink and yellow multicolored foam necklace, and she would keep them very, very endearingly. And then I discovered the danger of the wonderful world of Michaels, and everything kind of went from there. I remember making beaded necklaces, like stringing along and patterning out beads since before I was 10. And my mom would actually wear them to work, and she would tell me the compliments she would get on them, but I used like elastic string and all of that, so very different than some of this. And then I do believe it was for my 10th birthday, my mom got me my first set of jewelry pliers. This now has more than just those because I ended up getting a second set at some point in high school. But when I was 10, I got jewelry pliers, and that kind of started me into the world of chainmail. And so chainmail is, and I will get close-up pictures of everything to, you know, kind of show while I'm talking. So chainmail is chainmail, like think of a medieval, you know, knight, that kind of a suit of chainmail. And that's kind of the style of jewelry that I started getting into. I've still done beaded necklaces every now and again, but my mom signed me up in high school for this summer class, and it was kind of like a camp, but not really, and it was all about chainmail. And it was this dude who had this vat of just these little jump rings, or what the rings are called that you separate, that you use to make chainmail. He had this vat of them, and the whole point of the camp was teaching us different styles, different techniques. This is one that I made at that camp. This is called a snake chain. This is one of my absolute favorite chains. It looks super pretty. It's very popular for men because it's a flat kind of a chain. And Robert, if you're watching this video, I haven't forgotten. I'm sorry that it's taken me so long to make the jewelry for you. Working on it. But snake chain is absolutely really cool, really interesting. And I ended up learning quite a few techniques at that camp, but one of the most important things was at the end of that, he pointed me to a website called theringlord.com. Not sponsored, but theringlord.com has scales, and this is where I delved into the world of scale mail. I should mention, I am wearing, mostly, I did make this necklace, I made these earrings. I don't have studs that I made, so I couldn't put anything in my seconds, but I made this, and I made everything that's on the table before me, and this is my wonderful world of supplies. So if you've seen the garland video, remember where I said I went to Michael's unsupervised? This is basically just a very large collection with the same premise of somebody let me into the jewelry section. There's like so many, I have several bags of beads that I actually have to sort into all of this, and I just haven't gotten there yet. We're working on it. But I've done a variety of styles, so like, these are peyote stitch bracelets. These are woven with seed beads. They're really fun to like run back and forth between your fingers. You literally use a needle and thread for these. These are painstaking and annoying, and they're beautiful, but I'm terrified they're going to break, so I don't wear them. I have 2 of them. I'm gonna go a little bit into some of the different styles of what I have in front of me, kind of some of, I guess, of what I've done. Talk about this monstrosity. So the first chainmail, scale mail thing I ever made was actually this. And scale mail is built on the principle of what's called the European foreign one. So European foreign one is a very common chain. It's the one that's for this. And it's your pretty standard like chainmail chain. And so you'll see there's a ring in the center, and then the 4 rings next to it all interlock in that center one. And that's the pattern that repeats. So that's why it's called 4-in-1. And the only thing that's different with the scales is the scale is the one that the other 4 loops go into, and you end up building it out into this pattern. The sizes of scales vary greatly. So these are extra small scales, and the scales for this one that are around somewhere, these are extra large scales. These were actually a limited order, but scales have kind of been a fun thing. My jewelry has evolved greatly over the years. It's kind of weird because this is probably the one thing that I feel like I'm most expert at, but only because I've genuinely been doing it for so long and actually spend some time to research some different techniques. So a variety of my favorites, I've got some Irish chain, snake chain, trizantine, some that I don't technically know the official name of. I've got box chain, I've got this twisty one that's really cool, whatever this one is, but I really like it because when it lays flat it looks really pretty. Done a lot with chain as far as bracelets, and then ended up expanding into the scale stuff. I'll do some earrings, so I have a variety. I've done some beaded earrings that I think are kind of cute, and then a really pretty chandelier style of earrings that I've fallen in love with, and I've done these in different colors. My mom has a pair of these in white and red because candy cane, Christmas. Should I again have scripted my rambles? Maybe. One of the things that I started really falling in love with in high school, two things, was wire wrapping and using reclaimed pieces of metal. So I was on an FRC robotics team in high school, and that meant I was in a lab or workshop with a lot of boys, a lot of metal, and a lot of power tools. And what that combination usually results in is scrap metal. You know, one of them literally used to just drill holes into things for fun. It was pieces of metal and wood that we needed, but it just had holes in it now. But one of those scraps gave us these really interesting little thin metal rings. And so I took these and made them into one of my favorite necklaces. Another piece of scrap metal that I got from that, hold please. So here's more pieces of metal I got for free. All of these were taken from the robotics lab. You can tell they were made by a punch because they've got that cool shape to them. One of these pieces, I think I have a picture of it. I will put it up if I find it. I made a piece using these to give away to an auction. I drilled 3 holes in it and then suspended a marble on the inside. And I was really proud of that. Should have made one for myself when I still had access to a drill press. I do not anymore. But I have a lot of these, and I have a bunch of different sizes too. But wire wrapping was something I could do, and it was kind of therapeutic. I would just watch like a YouTube video after I'd finished my homework, and I would have all of the stones or sea glass that I was gonna wrap, all of my wire and my pliers, and I would just sit there and wrap them as I was watching like a video or something. Also, this is cute, but I did not secure it well, and so I'm taking it off. Again, I didn't know how to do it super well. I have a memory of my mom and I taking a wire wrapping class at some point, which tried to teach me how to do all these fancy techniques, incorporating beads into the wire wrapping. That never really caught on. I think I have some from that era, but some of, I just like to try to wrap the stone. I try to find points in the stone where the wire is going to accentuate either the color of the stone, the shape of the stone, but also still hold it securely, because what's the point of doing the wrap if it's not going to hold it securely? So this is a piece of sea glass, and all of the sea glass that I have is from Cape Cod, Massachusetts, I believe. I've literally collected it while walking on the shore with my mom. So I have a variety of really pretty, and this is not the only container of wire wrap stuff. This is just a small thing that I take as demos. There's more. Half of this is, half of what's to my left is supplies. The other half is finished pieces that I really haven't done anything with yet. I forgot about this tub. This tub has other example pieces. So here's a very large snake chain. This is like a choker. We have more things that I've wire wrapped and then also incorporated some stuff into. Editing this is gonna be interesting. So, this is a very large piece of scale mail that is designed to be a Moana costume. From the very last scene of the movie, she has this red feather top, and I was like, yo, that would be so cool if I built it out of scales. I had this idea when it first came out, and Moana came out in... Editor, me, help. So yeah, this has been a while in the making. There was a point where I took this to school. I took the supplies for this to school, and I was working on segments of it in classes. Well, not like while I needed to do work. I was the kid that always had extra free time and was reading, so I figured out how to do this very quietly. I put a towel down. I should put a towel down. That would make, well, we're here. but figured out how to do small segments of it relatively quietly, because once I got it to the length that I wanted, it was just about making it wider, and so those were I just would do like 4 scale wide segments to then basically stitch together, because the back of this looks like chainmail. And so you can see each scale and how it connects to all the other scales, and this thing is also heavy. Like, it's very heavy. I am not done with it. I have hopes. Hi, Mr. Sun. If you could not shine your rays of plasma into my eyeballs. I need curtains on this window. I am not done with this. I do plan to put lining on the bottom. I want to make it, it's going to be a corset back. There's no other way to do it, either corset or hooks. It is actually in technically a wearable state. It has a strap and everything. And so it's finished. It wraps all the way around. I just haven't gotten to putting the back on it yet. This is the biggest piece of scale mail I have ever put together, and it took me forever. And then of course I had the brilliant idea of, was like, I want to make a cape, which is, clearly this isn't a cape. So I'm gonna take this off, but bottom line is, chainmail is something I have spent years doing, messing with, experimenting with. I enjoy making jewelry very, very much. I keep trying to test my skills and make new things, and it's something that most people, I guess, don't know off the bat, because I don't tend to wear a lot of jewelry. I don't wear a lot of bracelets, and I have a lot of bracelets in front of me. These are all bracelets. I don't typically wear bracelets. I typically wear a watch. So, not that you couldn't wear a bracelet with a watch. Here's more rambles. I just don't typically wear bracelets. I'm really bad about wearing dangly earrings, so, because I feel overdressed a lot of the times. So I don't get to show off my jewelry very much, which is a little bit of a shame, but that's why I try to give it to people so they can enjoy it and they can wear it and they can just, you know, show it off for me. Maybe one day I'll get around to selling it. Without further ado, let me get to teaching you how to make something, or at least showing you how I would make something.
So first things first about jump rings, there is a right and a wrong way to open them. The wrong way is just morphing the circle by pulling the two ends apart. The correct way is actually bending them away from each other and making this funky little open C or S curve. So it may be hard to tell in the video, but these scales do have a concavity to them. The concave side is the inside, and the part that is, I guess, reverse concave or up is the outside, and you always want to make sure that side is down. And that's the way you're going to layer these scales. When it comes to stacking and attaching them, I know it gets hard to see because I keep pulling it off screen, but basically you want to attach them outside to outside. No matter which scale you're attaching in the pattern or how it's going on, the correct way to attach it will always be outside to outside. Honestly, another recommendation is always making sure that, if possible, start your project with as many open jump rings as you can. It takes a lot of time up front, but it will absolutely save you headache later. So to secure the edges, you're basically creating a imaginary layer or column of the European foreign one. Where a scale would be if you were to continue the pattern, you are basically inserting a ring, and you will see this better in the final product. I would suggest setting up your rings kind of like I did, so you make sure you know as many of the scales as you need for each layer, and attaching them one layer at a time. It will come a point, and I will show how to actually secure the edges, because if you don't secure the edges properly, they will continue to be a nightmare, and the piece will keep basically shifting shape on you and changing, and it's just kind of a nightmare to deal with. So I highly recommend sealing your edges when you know where they are, which in a small piece is pretty obvious. I realized one of the things I didn't explain was the different pliers and why I use the ones that I use and what all the different ones are for. Again, that can be a future video if people are interested in continued jewelry content. So here's the final product. I wanted to offer some close-up views as far as the underside of the jump rings and how I went about attaching the clasps and everything, because I realized I did not record a lot of this. I do explain a good portion of why in my outro, but overall this is just kind of to provide a close-up view of everything that happened from the last clip to the next one. So I apologize for the lack of continuity, but I do hope you enjoy the final product.
Hello, we're done. We're at the end. As you can see, I have this interesting looking little fluffy bracelet. I'm quite pleased with how it turned out. It was definitely interesting. I think it's been about an hour and a half, 2 hours, as I now am not able to take it off. There we go. If you will notice, the inside is very much more jump ring heavy than perhaps the other chainmail or scale mail examples that I showed. That's just due to the nature of how you have to seal the edges to make sure that it actually stays in place. If you'll notice, I can't pull any of these scales over any of the other ones. They're stuck where they are, and if you recall the beginnings of this, that wasn't the case, and it was very temperamental and all over the place. Unfortunately, that's just the nature of scale mail when you're getting started, is you just absolutely have to have some patience. I didn't have a time lapse for a lot of this because I ended up sitting on my couch to finish it. I wasn't very comfortable working at this table for jewelry. It's not actually... Typically, I work on the floor, because that's a workspace. I just kind of set all my containers around me and just sit on the floor. So that's where I'm used to working, so working at a table is a little bit different, but you know, we made it work. But I think it was interesting. I hope it was interesting, and it's pretty much the same process. I did a little bit of a close-up of the fasteners, so you should be able to see how I attached those jump rings. This was a fun little, interesting little project. Most of my scale mail pieces have been a lot larger, and even if not a lot larger, just a lot more scales in general. I've seen pieces of scale mail like this actually sold before, and so I kind of wanted to take a stab at something like this on my own. It works, I think. It actually looks quite nice. It's got, you know, the 3 layers. Usually the ones that you see sold though have a single layer of scales. I tried to do that initially. There was a little bit of trial and error, but it just didn't cooperate, and so I decided that it wasn't worth it. So I did what I know I could do. It does not wrap all the way around my wrist. That is, 1, I didn't want it to, and 2, I was getting tired. When it's a very small project, or some bracelets, I don't think they need to necessarily wrap, you know, end to end, plus you need a little bit of wiggle room for a chain connection anyways, and if that's all the chain that's visible at the end, I think it's fine as far as the distance. I thoroughly enjoy making jewelry. I have had these supplies forever, and as you saw from the little show and tell at the beginning, I do everything from beaded to all sorts of different kinds of chains. So if there is any continued interest in seeing jewelry content, whether it be tutorial or just me trying to take a stab at something, let me know. I absolutely have the ability to make this a regular thing on the channel. I don't really know what the direction for this channel is right now. I'm kind of currently taking every creative thing that I know how to do and making a video of it and throwing it out there, because this is the start of the channel, so why not? You know, I have nothing better to do than take a shot in the dark, and why not? You said that again. Anyways, it's late. I have work tomorrow, so I apologize for the rambles, but this was a fun video to do, showing off everything that I have. I doubt jewelry videos in the future will be very show and telly, considering I probably showed most of what I have, and if I didn't, then that's because it was edited out, and you'll get to see it in whatever the future videos are. But if there is any particular type of video content, the special effects, drawing, sculpting, jewelry, do let me know if there's something you would like to see more of, because, you know, I want to make what somebody may find interesting, and currently people are watching just my nonsense, which I very much appreciate, because I think it's fun to make these. I do these anyway, so why not film it and see what I can make out of it. So I at least have an excuse to continue to fill my apartment with odds and ends and crafts and things, rather than just you know, I was doing it anyways. So this is rambling, but I very much appreciate you watching if you have made it this far. Let me know what you think. I have a lot of other colors too, so if you want to see something in a different color, just let me know. I absolutely have the ability to do beaded videos, chainmail videos, kind of anything, and jewelry related. And I'm willing to take a stab at something new, so let me know what you think. And if you have no thoughts, then that's fine as well. You don't have to interact with it if you don't want to. But thank you so much for making it this far into the what I hope was mildly entertaining process of I make jewelry and here's what I own. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, or at least found it somewhat entertaining. And I will see you in whatever the next one happens to be. See ya.